Imagine standing trackside, you can feel the ground vibrating before you even see the car, then it hits you with unmistakable guttural roar of a naturally aspirated American, bouncing off the concrete. But this isn't just any Mustang, it's sharper, angrier, and absolutely dialed in. Welcome back to Caar Gaala. Today, we are talking about the return of a king. Rumors are swirling, the streets are talking, and Ford could be gearing up to unleash the 2027 Ford Mustang Boss 302. Now, before we tear into the details, we have to set the record straight. Ford has not officially dropped the production spec sheet for a 2027 Boss 302 just yet. What we are looking at is the absolute bleeding edge of automotive speculation, built on insider expectations and the incredible foundation of the new 7th Mustang. But if Maranello is killing verse and everyone else is plugging into the grid, Ford bringing back the Boss 302 name right now would be the ultimate mic drop. The Boss 302 isn't just a badge, it is a sacred piece of motorsport history. Born in 1969 to dominate the Trans Am racing series, the Boss was never about just ripping a quarter mile in a straight line. It was a scalpel. It was about chassis balance, cornering grip, and a high revving engine that begged to live at the red line. Bringing that philosophy into 2027 means Ford has a massive challenge. How do you capture that raw mechanical magic while integrating the insane technological leaps of the modern era? Let's start with the stance, because the 2027 Boss 302 needs to look like a predator the second you lay eyes on it. Expect a completely re-engineered front fascia. We are talking a much lower, wider track width with enlarged air intakes feeding heavily upgraded cooling systems. The front splitter won't just be plastic trim, it will be a functional track scraping aerodynamic element designed to eliminate front end lift at 150 miles per hour. Moving up the hood, expect a massive functional heat extractor. Not only does this pull hot air out of the engine bay, but it directly reduces under-hood pressure, keeping the front tires glued to the tarmac. Down the sides, aggressive side skirts will channel dirty air away from the rear wheels, and out back, a prominent adjustable rear wing, a massive lower diffuser, and quad exhaust tips that announce your arrival from 3 blocks away. Wrap those exclusive lightweight forged wheels in ultra-sticky Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires and you have a Mustang that looks like it belongs on a starting grid. But the real magic happens when you pop that hood. To live up to the name, the Boss 302 demands a naturally aspirated, no superchargers, no turbos, no electric motors, just raw atmospheric combustion. We expect a heavily massaged track-tuned iteration of Ford's legendary 5-liter Coyote. But this wouldn't be a standard GT block. Let's pull up our mechanical breakdown of how Ford could tweak this Coyote to get that signature Boss screaming top end. Ford would likely upgrade the internals with forged connecting rods, lighter pistons, and completely revised cylinder heads for massive airflow. By utilizing dual throttle bodies and a cross-plane crankshaft balanced to absolute perfection, this engine wouldn't just make power. It would rev freely and violently past 7,500 RPM. We are easily looking at a target output pushing past 500 naturally aspirated horsepower, delivered with a throttle response so sharp it feels hard wired to your brain. And then there is the sound. The exhaust note of a Boss 302 needs to be a religious experience. Active valve exhaust is a guarantee, but the tuning would be entirely bespoke. In track mode, it should bypass the resonators entirely, delivering a raspy motor-derived shriek that echoes off canyon walls. But all that power is meaningless without the right gearbox. In a world dominated by lightning-fast, soulless automatics, a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission is virtually mandatory for the boss experience. Driving this car shouldn't be easy, it should be an event. You want to feel the mechanical engagement of every single gear change, perfectly rev-matching your downshifts as you dive into a hairpin. Ford will likely offer their 10-speed automatic for those chasing ultimate lap times, but let's be honest, manual is the only choice for the purists. Now, let's talk about the corners, because this is where the Boss separates itself from the rest of the muscle car pack. To get this 3,800-pound beast to dance, Ford would need to overhaul the suspension geometry. We're anticipating the latest generation of MagneRide adaptive dampers in our suspension model. Here you can see how this system uses iron-infused fluid and electromagnets to adjust damper stiffness up to 1,000 times per second. Combine that with thicker sway bars, stiffer springs, and completely revised steering calibration, and you get a Mustang that corners completely flat. Out back, an advanced torsion limited slip differential will ensure all 500-plus horsepower is actually put to the ground as you rocket out of an apex, rather than just turning the rear tires in. Expensive white smoke to bring it all to a halt. Expect massive 6-piston Brembo calipers up front, clamping down onto piece floating rotors. Step inside the cabin, and the Grand Touring luxury is stripped away. The Boss 302 interior is a command center, heavily bolstered Recaro racing seats lock you in place. A flat bottom steering wheel wrapped in Alcantara gives you maximum grip. The massive digital instrument cluster will likely feature a bespoke Boss telemetry screen, throwing lap times, G-forces, and oil temps right in your line of sight. Every switch, every pedal, and every piece of carbon fiber trim is there for one reason: to keep you focused on the drive. Pricing remains mystery, but if this legend returns, expect it to carry a premium over the dark horse in an era where engines are getting smaller and quieter. A 2027 Boss 302 would be a beautiful, violent reminder of why we fell in love with cars in the first place. So, Caar Gaala family, are you ready for the return of the Boss, or do you think the naturally aspirated days are truly numbered? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the absolute edge of automotive engineering.